I thought they were valuable. Obviously we had a lot of players from Indy, and I thought they played really well in Milwaukee. That wasn't an easy ask. They had, some good players in their lineup. But it was something to build on. We got some good, clips that we've been showing our group here this week. But obviously, we're all chomping at the bit to open up the season, especially at home. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be a great atmosphere. Obviously, a great opponent. Milwaukee set the bar for our division, so it'll be a good opportunity for us.
You mentioned the Milwaukee preseason game. That got pretty physical, and I know it is a preseason game, but do you like that as far as a tone setter of starting to build the identity of this team and making sure that you guys are going to be setting the tone every night?
For sure. We just asked the guys, go be yourselves, play to your strengths. We're fortunate we have a good group of players that pride themselves on playing hard. I do think that's going to be important in our team identity and culture, especially in this building. But yeah, it did get physical, and that's kind of been the MO of Milwaukee, and there's no secret behind their success. They have a good balance of physicality and skill. We'd like to match that and create our own type of identity really similar.
When you go about building lines for the season, or at least to start, are you trying to combine veterans and youngsters? Or what sort of combinations are you searching for as you kind of build this out with your staff? And I know it'll, evolve and take time.
Yeah, lines evolve. A lot of it, if they played a little bit in the preseason, every player is different, every line's different. But it's absolutely it. It always evolves. You're not going to have the same lineup night to night. This is the first step, and trying to get some chemistry. I think we have some players that can play up and down the lineup, which is nice as a coach. But again, like I've been saying, it's just going to be the first step.
How much do you think it helps having a lot of these veterans, not only veteran IceHogs, but players who were on the Blackhawks and have come down here to start the season?
It's big, especially when they come down with a good attitude. I know the years I coached here before, I was really spoiled. The guys that were up and down, and even look at like Nolan Allen here. He's a selfless competitor. He'll play the same way whatever league he's in. It makes our job easier, and I think it's a great opportunity for those guys to be an example to the younger guys, to be where your feet's at. And we need that. Every team has call-ups and different players coming in and out of the lineup.
How ready is Nick Lardis, not only to play in this league, but to be an impact player in this league?
Yeah. I think Nick's ready now. Ready, whatever you mean by that. It's obviously not expecting him to be perfectly seasoned, just like any of these players, even the older guys. It takes time. There's a learning curve. Favorite trait of Nick, he's a kid that wants to get better, ask questions. He's humble. That's, I think, the huge trait in a hockey player that wants to be coached hard.
What is it about this week leading up to the opener that what are the wrinkles you have to iron out in such a short time span before the reality of the season begins?
Yeah, I think as a coaching staff, you want to try to cover everything, but also you don't want to throw too much information as the players. I think most important part is talking about what we value the most and trying to be good at that, and build on that. But yeah, I think, as a coach, I don't want to throw too much at the players. We want them to play to their strengths and somewhat a structure, and then we'll go from there.
What about Savoie's game? Are you looking forward to seeing this year, and what do you want to continue to see develop with him?
Yeah, Sammy, I thought he had a good rookie year. The challenge to him, I talked to him yesterday, and really with all the players, especially entering year two, keep that chip on your shoulder, to not get complacent, to feel like you have to prove something and improve. Because it only gets tougher. The years you get in pros, there's new prospects, there's a new wave of talented young rookies coming in. You got to find a way to get a chip on your shoulder and take steps. And Sammy is a really important piece to our lineup. I think the way he plays when he's playing to his identity, he's a pest to play against, creates turnovers. So looking forward to seeing him play this weekend.
Who else on this team has that get under your skin type of ability out there on the ice and the physicality that this team needs?
Well, I'm not going to single out, players, but we want that ultra competitiveness from every player. You bring in all different styles, whichever it's finishing hits, standing up for teammates, hard on pucks, tracking back hard. That's one non-negotiable with our group, and with, I thought that the Blackhawks did a good job at training camp that without compete, you're not going to last long. So I'm confident in our group that we'll be a highly competitive team.
Last week, a lot of the guys, going back to yourself, talked about how you're much of a player's coach and you relate to these guys and your open door policy and stuff like that. How much of an importance is that for you to be, have that open door policy, be that player's coach more, that you can relate to them, but also be hard on them when they need to be coached up?
Yeah, it's the first. A lot of these guys are just getting to know me. I don't know. Ask them a month into the season if they'll think that. But no, I try to just be myself. I think players can read phony, and I put myself in their shoes. That I always like coaches that were transparent and honest for tough conversations. Try to remind myself of that. But just being yourself, authentic. I think that's what players value the most.